Okay, yeah, we've got Zain in the house.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
Assalamu
Oh,
alaikum.
mashallah. Wait, let me just see if I can adjust this thing a little so you can see me better. Is that a bit better?
Perfect.
There we go.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I apologize for being a bit late.
It's all right. Fashionably late, the headline act of the festival,
No, actually, you know what? It actually wasn't that at all. It was actually one of those days where I had everything planned. And I don't know if you guys were checking out my feed, but we've been trying to do a cooking challenge. So the folks at Zain Bhikha Studios have asked me to try to do something cooking related, and that's what I attempted to do today. But alhamdulillah, it went way better than I expected.
Yeah. Nice. Do we get to see your knife skills? That's the most important thing. Or did you just whack some meat on a barbecue and do a braai?
No, you know what? A braai would have been so perfect because, as you know, South Africans love braais, and most South Africans know how to do a braai. But they said I should do something involving Indian cuisine because, of course, my heritage is Indian, which is far harder.
Yeah. No, I was actually sharing that. We are so excited. Is it edible though? Was it edible? That's the question.
You know, it was actually far better than I expected. It looked good, it tasted good. But so alhamdulillah, for the first time ever, like for me to cook a dish like that, I was quite impressed. But I think I need to work on it a little bit better. Because you should see the house after I was done.
There must have been an epic clear up.
We have to see it behind the scenes.
Yeah, so inshallah, we're putting up the video tomorrow, so you can have a look at exactly what went on. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Excellent. Okay, so I think it'll be fitting for us to give you a warm introduction. So Naseba, do you want to do
the honors? So I am feeling very honoured to have the incredible Zain Bhikha with us. As many of you know, he is one of the leading Muslim singing artists and truly influential Muslim around the world, and is truly a generational artist and what we would call a living legend, mashallah. Without further ado, we've got Zain Bhikha.
Hey.
Alhamdulillah. No, thank you so much. I was checking out you guys' page, and I was checking out what you guys were doing, and I was really impressed that I don't think we as a community pay as much attention and importance to creative arts, and yet it's the medium that all our children are currently using, engaging in various platforms. And if we don't give them an outlet, or if we don't give them an opportunity to at least guide them in the right way, then subhanallah, we only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Now, tell us a little bit about your journey. We know you've been around for 25 years, mashallah.
You celebrated your 25-year milestone last year with a tour as well, didn't you?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. It was actually wonderful because wherever I go, it's quite amazing that, people, let's say, I don't know how old you guys are, but let's say in their mid-20s or late 20s, and they've got kids of their own, and they say that they grew up on my songs when they were like 15, and it's really remarkable that Allah has given me this opportunity to continue for such a long time, and still, for people to be interested, and really I take no ownership of that. I think it's all a blessing. I know there's so many people who are amazingly talented who don't have the blessing of an audience. So every song that I do, every chance that I have to do yet another song or yet another show or something with kids, I really feel like enormously blessed. Like I feel like I still can't believe it. Like, even though it's 25 years later, I still can't believe it.
That's amazing.
And what's the secret to that longevity? Because 25 years is impressive. I think, we've got to, give credit when credit's due. 25 years in any profession is, impressive. So what's your secret to keeping fresh and keeping relevant and just being consistent with your output and your material?
I've been trying to figure that out as well. It's a fantastic question. I myself don't know. I think maybe a combination of, firstly, what people don't realize And you guys know, because you work in this field all the time, just how much hard work it takes. It takes an enormous amount of consistent hard work. Like most people, especially young people who want to get into any creative field, they think that they can do something and all of a sudden it will be amazing within a short space of time. So give yourself like enough time, love what you do. You have to love what you do. You have to be sincere about it, because I think it shines through. Like if you do something and, if you yourself are not really enjoying it, it's going to be short-lived. So I love singing. I love making songs. I love writing songs. I love, singing for kids and singing for adults. And I just enjoy the whole process. So I think that does help. Like if it's your passion and sometimes you enjoy it. And I think on top of that, like I've never done it full time. So I've never let a commercial decision like affect my creativity ever. And look, there's nothing wrong with doing full time. I mean, a lot of my friends, close friends, do it for a living and they earn off it. Alhamdulillah, there's nothing wrong with it. But I just think with me, because I always had a full-time job and I had other forms of income, that I never let sort of money or anything else come in the way. So if I wanted to do something, great, I did it. And if I didn't want to do anything, it was also fine. So I didn't release albums every year. There was like 2-year gaps and then an album or two. And I think the thing that I touched on the other day, I was speaking to my sister actually, and she's doing an online course, right? She's a great writer, and she's writing, and she's saying, one thing she realizes is that the more input you have, the more output you have. So you need to be constantly adjusting your life views, your life thoughts. Don't be stuck in a mold. Don't be stuck in a bubble. Like really expand your universe and learn more, read more. And the more you learn, the more, it will influence your creative outlet. So I don't know if that gives an answer to your question, but from my perspective.
I think if there's one like takeaway there, is to always broaden your horizons, right? So the more you know, the more you discover, the more you can retell as a creative, right? I think that's probably the key.
And I also like what you said about the pressure. You didn't. You've always let your love and passion come first, and not the money and pressure from people's opinion and so on. So I think that's so important, because I think the lifestyle the society we live in right now, it's and with social media and everything, it's a lot of pressure, and the youth, the next generation, have this constant pressure to kind of be someone that they're not, or accept something, or even like you said, you have to give it a couple of years or months to see the fruit of your hard work. And we live in that kind of fast pace where we don't really wait. We just expect to kind of instant gratification, and I don't really blame people for that, because of how we have the whole like system and so on. So you're used to that. You're like, oh, why am I not becoming successful? So I think it's really important. Like what I take away from that is patience and just having that love. So I think
and just to add to what you're saying, I mean, you are absolutely right. This is the metrics that are given to us, like if we're involved in the creative, likes and friends and follows and shares and all of those things. But if you really dissolve yourself from all of that and you just stick to your great purpose that you feel is making a difference, even if it's one child, one person, like set your benchmark low and say, look, I'm just going to try to do this because I love it, and I think I'm doing something different. I think I'm doing something that's beneficial to the world. And then, of course, you put it out there. But if you start measuring yourself with these things, then it's always going to be a washing machine of like constantly trying to gain something, but you're never going to win this battle. And the other thing is, it's not just the possible hate or criticism you'll get. That's, of course, you've got to deal with. But even the praise, that's far harder to deal with. Yeah. You've got to make sure that you don't fall for any of that, because you're doing your best, but don't make it bigger than it is, because you are just an ordinary human being. So it's about not listening to either too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, balance. I think balance is really, really important. Now,
the questions are like flooding in. But I think before we go to the questions, I think we're all looking forward to the first song that you're going to perform for us. So we don't know; it's going to be a surprise for us also, but we cannot wait. So I think before, as is customary throughout the festival, guys, we need at least 10 thumbs up before Zain performs his first song. So guys, get those thumbs pointing up.
Oh God.
Oh, we're already off one.
Yeah. I mean, before you came on, we had actually a chat with two of our students who have been joining, and they've already sent requests, and we were like, what's the highlight of the whole festival? They're like, today. So everyone's really, really excited for today, alhamdulillah. And just to touch on when you mentioned about, you know, people in their 20s who have grown up with your music, you know, when we were speaking on the phone, I mentioned that 14 years ago, we shared the same stage and in GPU, and you know, I was always looking up to Zain Bhikha, and of course, you didn't know me then, but it's such a blessing for me to have grown up on your music, and then 14 years later,
be on the Instagram live together, right?
Together, I think, you know, it's just, I mean, how Allah works is it's beautiful, you know, like you don't know, but you may have met someone such a long time ago, but you know, like just to think that when I met you when I was 13, now we are on a live together. It's if it's your time, everything kind of falls into place. So it's really beautiful. I just thought about that and I just found it incredibly beautiful.
And then lies a great lesson. Like just you know, let's not get caught up with immediate results and with immediate outcomes. And there's a process that we're following, and you know, alhamdulillah, there's a time for everything. Like even there's a time for me to do these kind of things. You know, subhanallah, we're living in such a crazy time at this moment in time when people are just around the world are facing difficult challenges. People are dying. People are working at the forefront. I was, you know, speaking to a doctor today, and he said it's difficult circumstances. So there's a time for everything, but everything that we do adds to who we are right now. And inshallah, we hope that is bringing us closer to Allah.
Inshallah. Well, I think we've got more than 10 thumbs up earlier. So if
you're counting,
yeah. So if you don't mind performing your first song, Zain, that would be
So I was hoping that I'd have more time to connect my system into the Instagram, but that didn't work out. So I'm gonna use this mic, and this mic is just connected to a sound system in my studio, just to give a little bit more. So I hope the sound is okay. I haven't tested it. And I know you guys wanted to do a test, but I failed, so I apologize.
It's okay.
That's okay. I know your cooking may have definitely tired you out, right?
You know, can I tell you something about that? You know, subhanallah, I mean, I do small things, of course. South Africans, we braai, and maybe I make breakfast every once in a while. But I have so much more respect for the people who cook for their families every day. I mean, of course, mostly women, but there's a lot of men out there I know who cook for their families. And imagine like going through all of that process, and you're sitting down at the table, and the person, you know, opposite says, "Well, it's okay." You know, like it's not that terrific, you know. So alhamdulillah, I must say I have so much more respect for people who do this every day. So it has been a trying time. I'm going to sing a song that resonates with me a lot, especially in Ramadan, because I wrote this in Ramadan one morning after Fajr, and I was going through a tough time, and it was many, many years ago, so you can tell how old the song is. But it just made me think that, you know, we all go through difficult times, some much more than others, of course. And we should always be just in a state of gratitude, because irrespective of what we do. And I'm going to play from the laptop to try to get some backing vocals. And you guys know we're trying to be creative. So let me see, inshallah, how this goes. Yeah, so Bismillah.
Bismillah.
So this one is called Allah Knows. I hope the sound is okay. I haven't tested it, but Bismillah. And wherever you are, inshallah, you can sing along and just remember, Allah knows all our conditions. Bismillah. When you feel all alone in this world, and there's nobody to count your tears, just remember, no matter where you are, Allah knows. Allah knows. When you're carrying a monster load, and you wonder how far you can go, with every step on that road that you take, Allah knows. Allah knows. No matter what inside or out, there's one thing of which there's no doubt. Allah knows, Allah knows. And whatever lies in the heavens and the earth, every star in this whole universe, Allah knows, Allah knows. When you find that special someone, see your whole life has barely begun. You can walk on the moon, shout it to everyone. Allah knows, Allah knows. When you gaze with love in your eyes, catch a glimpse of paradise, and you see your child take the first breath of life. Allah knows, Allah knows. No matter what inside or out, there's one thing of which there's no doubt. Allah knows, Allah knows. And whatever lies in the heavens and the earth, every sign, this whole universe, Allah knows, Allah knows. When you lose someone close to your heart, see your whole world fall apart, and you try to go on, but it seems so hard. Allah knows, Allah knows. You see, we all have a path to choose. Through the valleys and hills we go, where the ups and the downs never fret, never fret. Allah knows, Allah knows. No matter what inside or out, there's one thing of which there's no doubt. Allah knows, Allah knows. And whatever lies in the heavens and the earth, every star in this whole universe, Allah knows, Allah knows. Every grain of sand in every desert land, He knows. Every shade of palm, every closed hand, He knows. Every sparkling tear on every eyelash, He knows. Every thought I have and every word I share, He knows. Allah knows. Jazakallah khair. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, that was really
Mashallah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs that you can shut your eyes and it will just take you off into another zone. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
And you don't need any like fancy tech for your voice. I mean, mashallah,
Yeah.
that sounded perfect just the way it is. We didn't even need a tech rehearsal.
Well, I was worried about this because, anyway, you know, with live it's always difficult. But it reminds me of the first time I sang the song and with Dawood Hornsby, and it was in a small little hall somewhere in the UK. And we just met up after a few years, and I told him about the song. And he listened to it and he said, okay, he'd do it with me and he'd sing with me as a duet. And we sang the song, and yeah, subhanAllah, somehow you just know that, you know, you're doing something that can inspire someone else. And, and it's been amazing. Since then, there was 2005, that was 15 years ago.
I mean, This song is such a fitting song for so many situations, but also what we're going through currently, you know, all the difficulty and just like you said, to inspire and to encourage people that, you know, Allah knows, and you know, Allah's always there. So it's a really beautiful song. I mean, people have been commenting. So someone said that they've been singing this song, trying to sing this song to their child to bed for 6 years.
Wow.
And you know, like it's such a beautiful song, and I'm lost for words, and that doesn't happen usually.
I can confirm that does not happen that often.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Excellent. I think we're going to go to a couple of questions. I mean, they've been flooding in. A question from Zain Bhikha. So when did Zain decide to become a music artist?
Well, you know, that's a very good question, because like, as much as of course, I'm a singer and a songwriter, because that's what I do. I love to sing and I love to write songs, but I don't consider myself as a noun, if I may put it that way. It's more like a verb. Like when I'm singing, then I'm singing, you know, when I'm writing songs, and I'm writing songs, but it's not like I consider that myself as a title. So, I mean, I always enjoyed it. And of course, I've had the chance to write songs and release songs, but I guess because I don't do it full time, so I don't consider myself as that. Whereas, you know, maybe like I work with my dad and we do so many other projects, and then of course I'm a father and I'm a husband and I'm a Muslim, and you know, so but and even as a person, it's interesting because I growing up and even till today, I'm very you know, I guess I'm an introvert, you know, like this lockdown like really is the best thing that could have happened to me. Like I was speaking to my friend Dawud, and he feels the same way. He's like, it's just business as usual. We have a studio at home. We can record, we can write songs, but we don't really have to go out much, you know. So of course, so yeah, and I think as a performing artist, I've had to adapt because I've had to be on stage. And when you're on stage, of course, you have to interact with people, or you have to go to schools or work with kids. But yeah, so I guess it was always within me, but it's evolved over time, you know.
Excellent. And you've also you've been doing a lot of work with so animations and cartoons. And tell us a bit about ZB Kids and how that came about, because that's, for us, that's, you know, it's really innovative, and it was a space in our Muslim community that needed to be filled, and we're really blessed to have you, you know, come, you know, start this project, and hopefully it leads on to bigger and better things. But tell us about how it started and what your vision is for ZB Kids.
Yeah, no, you know, it was again one of those things that just organically grew. And alhamdulillah, now I must be honest that over the last year or 2 years, we've seen a flourish of media, Islamic media or faith-based media that is aimed at kids, and that's been fantastic to see. So we've got like Muslim Kids TV, we've got ZB Kids, we've got so many other channels. I've been working with a channel in Turkey, and they specialize in doing more sort of like creative projects, but you know, based on Islamic faith. So it's really wonderful to see. And you know, as we know, I mean, as parents, there's so much more that needs to be done for our kids, because there's just so much out there. And the more we can do things in a professional way as well as in a entertaining way and a fun way, then inshallah, you know, like I watch little kids like 2-year-olds, and they say, you know, they're singing Allah made everything, and you know, that's my Lord, Allah the creator of us all, and or even like the cotton candy sky. And music and song can play such a vital role. As you guys know, any creative field, we underestimate the power it has, where sometimes maybe getting a child to do something, to learn in a more traditional way may be difficult. But some children, like I remember in high school, I was of course a very poor student, but anyway, I was in the principal's office, and I had written a rap, like one of the first things that I wrote, and it was about South Africa in the 90s. Or late 80s coming into the 90s, and apartheid was finishing, and I wrote a rap about, you know, it was called The Men of the World, and it was about, you know, Nelson Mandela and the heroes that we looked up to. And anyway, I remember I was in the principal's office, and he was like, oh, so, you know, you do this? I was like, yeah. So he said, do it for me. So I rapped like 2 or 3 pages, you know. And then he was like, he looked at me and was like, you can't even do your schoolwork, but you can do just that, you know? So he was amazed that I remembered all the words, and I could do it. Like, so the thing is that every child learns differently. So using the, you know, music or song or whatever the case may be, melodies to teach our kids. So ZB Kids really started that way with a simple song called Allah Made Everything, which was on a very mature album, but that one song just, I think, really did well, popularity-wise. You know, kids really loved it. And then that led me to become a little bit more deliberate about making more songs like Cotton Candy Sky, Everything Belongs to Allah. What else? The Monkey, the Cow, and the Wolf. And alhamdulillah, you know, I pray that we just dedicate ourselves more to that kind of medium for our children, more deliberately, inshallah. And I pray that I can do more. And many other people around the world can do the same, inshallah.
Inshallah.
I mean, Cotton Candy Sky is like one of the most.
It's become quite an
songs.
iconic song. I think
Yeah.
even just before you arrived, we went live with a couple of guests that have joined us today. And Cotton Candy Skies was a notable favourite, shall we say? So
Yeah, especially for the kids, I think it's something so beautiful, and yeah, and you know, it's it's inspirational for us to see you push the creative medium and creative skills out there. And I mean, for me, like the question I wanted to ask was how growing up or once you got into this, how important was it for you to push this out to the Muslim community especially, and also did you find it easy, or like what was your experience trying to push creativity into the Muslim community?
No, that's a great question. So firstly, remember that I had, my expectations were very, very low. So I didn't want to be like a superstar. My whole evolution of my songs is an evolution of me as a human being. So as I have grown as a person and I've gotten closer to Allah and I've experienced being a father and growing up and seeing my kids grow, it's all sort of in my songs in some way. So that evolution has been constantly with me. So my songs are part of my life story, and that's the way I see it. So it's not like dissociated. It's not like something that I look upon as a body of work. It's really me as a person growing. And because I had low expectations, everything that happens to me is a surprise and a wonderful thing. I'm like, wow. So like you mentioned Cotton Candy Sky, I mean, I remember writing that song and every time a child sings, how is it possible that this can happen? Like, how is it possible that children on the other parts of the world can be singing something that came into my mind? But then I got to remember that it's only Allah who inspires. And if it grows like this and if it inspires others, then you've got to realize that you were just the conduit, you were just a means that may be most beneficial for you. And alhamdulillah, I didn't get much flack. I mean, as I mentioned, like, I don't pay attention to the good things, but I don't pay attention to the bad things. Like, people may have questions for me, or people may say, oh, whatever is music, or can you do this, or can you do that? I'm like, look, this is what I'm doing based on my knowledge, based on my intentions. I pray that Allah accepts it. I pray that Allah forgives me for all the shortcomings I have. And I'm going to do my best. And if you just remain focused and you're in it for the long haul and you don't get sidetracked by so-called success, because you may call it popularity, but it's not success. Like if a video does thousands or hundreds, it doesn't change you as a person. You still got to be the person you are. So the main thing is to remain focused on what you're doing and be real about whether you're making a difference, inshallah.
I think it's all about making that small positive difference and the little change and the correct intention. I've always noticed from experience, if you have the pure intention, everything kind of just falls into place. Like people will want to surround themselves with your presence, and it helps with like collaborations. It helps with becoming more creative, so I completely agree with that.
And exactly what you guys also said earlier, like the challenge of our children today is believing in themselves just the way they are, without trying to be anybody else, whether it's from a Muslim identity point of view or just themselves. Like maybe, kids have so many hang-ups today about how smart they are or how intelligent they are, how they look or compared to their friends. And the most important thing is that just to remember that you are you and you can only be you and Allah loves you just the way you are. And what I've noticed, like when I go to a classroom or I speak to some kids, it may be something so small and relatively meaningless in our lives. Like, for example, there's kids coming to your academy and you may give them one word of wisdom today that may change or alter the course of their lifetimes. SubhanAllah, there are kids I worked with 10, 15 years ago. And I met a guy now, he's in his 30s, right? And he came to me and he said, do you remember me? And of course I couldn't remember. And he was like, I took part in one of your plays when I was in high school and I was only 16. And that remains one of the best moments of my life. So we don't know how we can influence each other. Maybe a child that walks through your doors and you give them that belief in themselves and you give them an outlet to do something amazing that maybe others don't see. That could change the course of their lives. So I think working with our children and listening to them and trying to encourage them is the best work that we can do today, especially in the world condition, especially when it comes to depression and, kids suicide. There's so many drug abuse, substance abuse, domestic violence. So we must make a difference with our children because they are the future. So that's why I was so proud of looking at, to see what you guys are doing with an academy. And numbers are not important. It's actually about giving value to a child today, inshallah.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I completely agree about, just making one small difference, and when for me, I've always, earlier when we spoke as well, I mentioned that, when the kids first came, and especially in the Muslim community, we have so many talented kids. Academically, they are so intelligent, so talented, but to be able to, really express that talent, it becomes a little bit difficult because of their self-confidence, because of the pressure from the world and so on. So when we had kids join WAW Creative Arts, they were very reserved, very shy, and even posture matters really. And over just a short period of time, we've seen them come out of their shell completely, to the point where their own parents don't believe that, what is that, my own child? And I think it's so important for the Muslim community and the kids in the Muslim community to really be encouraged and pushed towards creativity, but also not to kind of, I think for me, from experience, I've realized a lot of people think that creativity is only for people who want to join or take that path into the creative direction. But if you see from what we're going through now during COVID, so many people are attending creative classes or conversations and things like that, because it really helps you with your mental health, well-being, and pushes you out of your comfort zone and helps you with so many daily situations in life. And what would you say about that? Have you experienced that? Would you agree? Yeah.
I totally agree with what you just said, because it's not about the outcome. Remember, it's not about whether you're going to be a professional singer or songwriter or YouTuber or whatever. It's about the process and about being involved in something different. I saw it today, being involved in cooking. It's so therapeutic, subhanallah. So even though I may not become a professional chef, but it's a skill that I'm going to learn. And and the other thing about creativity, it allows us to express ourselves. And doesn't that define us as human beings? The ability to speak, the ability to share our thoughts and feelings. And when you do it creatively, it can be so more powerful. So even if, I take my sisters, for example, they're so creative, but most of their writings, nobody will ever hear about. But they write for themselves. They write to share their thoughts and they may share it with me or my mom or my dad. But that's the beauty of it. So it's not really, as you said, it's not really about an outcome, but it's really about doing something that you may not have done before, that you may enjoy, you may be good at, but it's going to be so beneficial for you, the process itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a beautiful conversation.
I think it's time for another song. What does everybody think? So, right, you guys know the drill.
You're just itching for songs, and
Let's see those 10 thumbs for another song from Zain. So come on.
So
let's see those thumbs.
I'm busy thinking about a song that I could do. I mean, somebody said "Who I Am." I haven't sang that song in a while. Maybe I can do a bit of that song as an a cappella.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because it's really nice, because
it really ties in with what we're talking about right now as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I hope I remember the words. My biggest challenge at this age of having done this for so long, and I've done so many songs, is to remember all the words. That's really a challenge. So anyway, let me try to do this. This one is called "Who I Am." Bismillah. I'll just sing it a cappella. Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh, I don't care. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am, who I am, who I am. He said, she said, they all did what's expected of them all. To get to the top don't matter if somebody's gotta fall. You gotta break the storm, the norms to conform. Get what you want's gonna kill us all. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am, who I am. Beyond the body that you see, there's so much more to me. And I feel best when my soul is free. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am, who I am. And then, yeah, then it goes into kind of like a rap part that Abdul Malik normally does. But that's really cool. So, yeah, that gives you a little bit of it. And actually, I haven't sung this song in a while, but it's really such a positive message. Again, first and foremost for me, and then anybody else it inspires, inshallah.
You have to.
Yeah, I think I'm probably not the only one who's waiting for the rap part from you, Zain.
Well, I can do it, but it goes like this. They tell me this is the way that I need to reform. If I continue to stray, I'm gonna start up a storm. Wear this, drive that, like this, not that. Don't dare lose track or you fall way back. But if my Lord loves me, then I know that I'm free. You can say what you want, just let me be. I know if I'm real and it's not a disguise. You'll love who I am if you open up your eyes. I insist that you see I ain't a mystery. It's who I wish to be. Yo, this is me. It's what's true within. Come and look again, looking through the skin. Who I am, this is who I am. This is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am. Ah, thank you.
I think that rap made it everything.
That's Abdul Malik Ahmed from Native Deen.
Now, if you want to hear more rap from Zain in the future, please please have a vote below now.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Now,
So thank you so much for the comments as well. I've been looking at the comments. Thank you so much, everyone who's watching. You guys have been amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, the amazing the comments have just.
Everybody's been loving it. They've been showing their appreciation in the comments, and it's pretty unanimous. Everybody finds your voice particularly soothing. Let's go to the questions. Right, so we have one here. From Asma, what is your favorite song that you wrote?
That's a difficult question because I think, every song has got so much different meaning for me. So I guess the songs that have been the kindest to me, if I say that, like people really resonate with the songs, is something like Mountains of Mecca or Allah Knows. My Mom is Amazing. And then, of course, Allah Made Everything, Cotton Candy Sky. So those are the songs most popular. But in terms of like my lyrical content, where I have just been like, subhanAllah, this is amazing, like blown away, like a song like Land of Revelation. You know, it was like a follow-up to Mountains of Mecca. I went for Hajj and then I never went to Mecca and Medina for years and years and years. And then I returned with my mother and my father and my whole family. And then I wrote the Land of Revelation, and I felt that was really, for me, a powerful song. Songs like Time. There's another song I have called Free. So it may not be the ones that everybody like listens to or loves, but it's songs that for me, just like, I could see that there was an evolution in my own creativity, whether it was my songwriting or my melodies, where I really pushed myself. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, maybe as creative people, you guys could understand that it may not be what everybody loves, but it might be something that just you know and you're proud of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a very good point. I mean, it's often, you know, you don't really see that behind the scenes, that process when you're pushing yourself and you produce something that's either a standout from what you've done in your catalog up to that point, or when you look back across the breadth of your work, and you see kind of marked differences in how you've put your songs together, or how deep your lyrics have kind of you've gone into. So that's a very interesting part of the process.
It's a good point you're making as well. Like when you look, it's only when you look back, actually, as you say, that you can see an evolution, that you can see that there's been a learning. But the other big thing which people really underestimate in helping your creativity, don't be afraid to work with people. Like when you work with people, anybody, like, if people come up to me and say, I want to do a song, I'll do this. If I have the time, and if I have like the inshallah, the creativity at that moment, I'll never say no. And every person has taught me so much, like whether it's Dawood Wansby or Yusuf Islam in the old days, or Khalid Balrouzi, Khalid Ismail. I've had the chance to work with giants, and like they lift you up, subhanallah, and they teach you to be so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I strongly believe in collaboration than competition. Many people, I think, when they get into when you become your own, when you start working for yourself, entrepreneur, or as a creative as well, people fear and tend to become competitive. But I think collaboration is what, like you said, it helps you succeed. But also because as Muslims, and I go back to like what I learned in Surah Kahf, where Prophet Musa, he was a prophet, but he didn't know, he didn't have the knowledge of everything. Khidr had more knowledge, so I think what we learn is that not one individual, you may be an expert in one kind of field, but you are not an expert in everything. So it's really important to collaborate, because someone or the other will add something to your journey and add something to your knowledge, and together we can do so much.
It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I've always strongly believed in that. I mean, it's really important to have like-minded people and have that connection, and to be on the same kind of wavelength. But like you said, collaboration is so important.
And again, when you're considering doing that, don't ever, like, the first question that you shouldn't ask is what is in it for me and what is it in it for you. It's just about doing something that's amazing. Like, don't let all of the other stuff get in the way. Just make sure that you go ahead and you do it, because you're going to learn so much during this process.
I can see that there's a question.
Very good question from Theo, who's tuning in from Dubai. So how has traveling impacted your creativity?
Tremendously. I think that's so useful, and especially for a person like me who absolutely hates traveling. I'm very happy staying in my home. As I said, like this lockdown is like a godsend. So I don't like traveling, but it's so necessary. It opens up your mind. Recently I went with Mufti Menk to Sierra Leone, to West Africa. And again, it just opens your world, because we get so consumed in our little bubble, in our little circle. So absolutely, I think traveling is so important. And again, it doesn't have to be traveling like far. Sometimes just changing your environment. Like even in our country, South Africa, there's experiences that you can have from a completely different perspective by just widening your circle of experience, like going to visit somebody in a completely different environment. Even if you go and visit an old age home, for example, or you visit a hospital, you visit a hospice, you visit someone in a really difficult area and just give them some time. Young people say, oh, but we don't have any money, but you can give of your most valuable thing, and that's your time.
Excellent. We've got a technical question that's been submitted. So firstly, they remark that you seem to sing very naturally. You don't need to warm up your voice, but if you had any warm-up techniques, what would they be?
I didn't take this very seriously before, and then on certain tours I lost my voice completely because I don't sing consistently and I don't tour consistently. So I would strain my voice and then just go out and do 5 shows, and then all of a sudden the 6th show, like, there's no voice. So it's very important, like especially in the mornings and in the evenings or before shows, to warm up your voice. There's loads of apps that you can download for free. I think the one I use is called Voco. VOCO. It's really an easy app. It just has like tones like la 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 la, and then you just go up in the scale, and then at least it just warms your voice up, and it's very, very important. But things that I need to first learn myself, because I don't do it very often, and I have to travel with lots of herbal medication, and I drink lots of tea, and of course, somebody told me that of course coffee and things with milk and things like that are not good for your voice, but somebody else told me that something that's really good for your voice, which you really wouldn't think, is crisps, like really oily crisps. Because like if you eat, like, let's say a packet of chips, maybe you guys call it chips, but you eat a packet of chips like salt and vinegar or whatever flavor, it really clears all the phlegm from your throat. So I eat a lot of chips.
We call it crisp.
Hey.
Yeah. That's interesting.
There you go, secret tips.
We have just under a minute left for this
I think
live.
what we'll do, because I think it's far too premature to end this here, we're going to end this live, but we're going to rejoin back up. So guys, please do join us straight away. We're going to end this and we're going to come back
Before
online.
you do, can we just maybe screenshot the questions just in case?
Very good.
Just in case, because we always seem to lose the questions. But yes, we will be joining straight back. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in just a little second. We're connecting back any moment.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we're back. I was saying how quickly the time just flew by. So I think we'll wait for a few people, for everyone to just connect back. Let me just sort out some of the questions whilst we connect back. Yeah.
I saw actually a really good question that somebody posted, saying, besides music and creativity or songs or whatever the case may be, somebody said, how do you deal with challenges in your life or difficult moments in your life? And that was really a beautiful question, because hey, my friend Omar Regan, assalamu alaikum. I believe you guys had him as a guest yesterday.
Yes, we did. 2 days
Sunday.
ago on Sunday.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
That was pretty entertaining, and we can't wait to have Omar back on. But you've also done a project, the ZB Kids, with Omar as well, haven't you?
Oh,
we
yeah.
We didn't get a chance to touch upon that on our live, but maybe you could tell us a bit, bit about what it's like to work with Omar and make that project.
Yeah, well, Omar is, subhanAllah, one of the most amazingly, and you know what's nice about Omar is that what's actually really refreshing about Omar is whatever you see is who he is, like constantly, like unless he's sleeping, he's passed out, like in the back of the car, whatever the case may be, like the rest of the time, he is himself. Like he's just so, subhanAllah, self-aware and real about himself and what he has to offer the world. So I have so much love for Omar. But coming back to the question, earlier, I think a lot of us get so caught up in an illusion of what people appear to be, and we may see a so-called like a perfect life or a perfect person or whatever the case may be. But subhanallah, the important thing is that every single person goes through difficult times. So even a person who's going through, let's say, financial difficulty, or is living really abject poverty, or somebody's living through oppression, other people who may not be going through those kind of struggles, but are going through other struggles of, let's say, maybe extreme wealth. I mean, therein lies, and that's why I think Allah, the poor will enter Jannah far earlier than the people who were given wealth, because it is also a test. So every person that we see are going through tests of their own that not many people are aware of. So firstly, we need to be aware of that. It makes us feel that it's not really about that we're all alone in our tests. But I think what really helps is, the only thing that helps is turning to the one who made you, turning to your creator in the best of times, the earliest hours of the morning, during your prayer, and really say, Allah, I am in control of nothing. and I surrender. My hands are up when we raise our hands to make salah. Like we say that that's it. Like I have nothing more to give. I have nothing more to control. Everything is in your power. And Allah promises us that with every hardship comes relief. So nothing is going to last forever. Whether it's the good times or whether it's the bad times, nothing is going to last forever. So I hope that helps. I know it may seem so insignificant, but it has helped me in my times of need.
Yeah, no, that's very useful useful insight there for sure. I think if you don't mind, Zain, could we get another song?
Yes.
I'm asking for those songs today.
Okay, so I think that there's been some requests. I'm just not sure. I've got this song lined
Allah
up.
Knows Everything. I think Mountain of Makkah is always a fan favorite.
Yes. I could do this song. It's called Everything Belongs to Allah. And I love this song because it talks again about animals, just like we did Allah Made Everything. But it was inspired by Surah Nur. And, you know, subhanAllah, I was so moved when reading that surah. Allah talks about light upon light, but also talks about in the deepest depths of the ocean, there's levels of darkness upon darkness. And yet there are creatures in the ocean that know Allah and say, you know, La ilaha illallah. So I wanted to make a song that talks about, you know, and also, you know, really points to the imagination of children who think about animals and nature so much more than we as adults. So, Bismillah, let me try my best. Here we go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. In the deepest part of the ocean bed, a creature crawling on his belly knows that La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. Riding on the crest of a wave in the sea, a dolphin squeaks and it whistles to me. Says La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Every bird has a prayer that he knows so well, praising Allah in their very own tongues, leaving their homes with tawakkul. They do their best and Allah fulfills what is due for me. He's already written, so surrender and say to Allah I belong. I say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. On the golden plains of the Serengeti, a wise old elephant trumpets to me, says La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. Underneath the baobab tree, where the cheetah lives and her cubs roam free, they say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Every living thing was made from water, fashioned and perfected by Allah. Some walk tall and some are small, and some lay deep on the ocean floor. So from the earth to the beautiful sky, the alternation of day and night, signs in creation, we all shall die to return to Allah, most forgiving, most high. We say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. When the vultures swoop down upon their prey, they cackle and they hackle, but they all say the same. They say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. In the murky waters of an old riverbed, popping up his head, the hippopotamus said, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Have a look around the earth everywhere. Allah's creation made in noble pairs. We have each other as a garment to wear, protection and comfort and burdens to bear. So how can we be oh so blind to this wonderful world and its beautiful signs? We say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. In the deepest crevice of my beating heart, a light shines bright, overcoming the dark. I say, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. Whenever I am down, I look up to the sky and I see the signs from Allah Most High. Most of all, I see light, endless light upon light. Mercy from Allah, who is yours and mine. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Rabb al-Alameen. Bismillah, and again I begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah.
Amazing. That was, I mean, as you can see from the comments, everyone's got love hearts and eyes and teary eyes. That was beautiful.
Alhamdulillah.
We're getting so many requests for cotton candy sky and mountains of Mecca. I mean, those are like, I think you knew that was going to happen every time, right? So if if maybe any one of those we could just, so those requests can just kind of stop coming, either one. We can only make one.
Consistent audience.
Yeah, I'm seeing a very interesting question here from Zaytun Shamshuddin. I think the words of your songs are beautiful, but do you ever change the words to suit a tune? Now, this is a very interesting thing because for me, when I'm writing something, then I have to have a tune in mind. So I would sing something out loud, even if it's just whatever. For example, like My Mom Is Amazing. I was like, she wakes early in the morning with a smile, and she holds my head up high. Don't you ever? So as I'm writing the song, I have a melody already. But rare occasions, sometimes I've heard a beautiful melody. Like, let's say I'm working with a producer and he's got a beautiful melody that I can write my words to that. But generally, it's always, I try to do it at the same time. And of course, I haven't really changed other people's songs. I mean, if I do a cover song, I'd love to do cover songs. Like I did a cover of Michael Jackson's Heal the World. But then I won't change the words because I try to pay tribute to the song itself. Yeah. So it's a I don't know, from you guys' side, like when you approach creativity, everybody has a different approach, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting because you also want to stay true to the words and the meaning and the message you want to convey. And there's that kind of feeling of compromising the message if you were to kind of lean towards the tune or the melody rather than the words. So it is a balancing act for sure. But I think part of creativity is overcoming those challenges and working out what's best for the end product, right? But yeah. I mean, those are the sort of creative headaches that are known within the industry, right? What gives, is it the meaning and the lyrics, or is it the melody? What is most important to the artist in that
I think from my perspective, which is a great question, from my perspective, it's always been the message and the words. Like, I really think if your words are allowing people to remember Allah or in praise of the Prophet ﷺ, or even about socially conscious things like, appreciating your mom, yeah, or being kind to your parents, or looking after your kids. Like, it doesn't matter, but the words are far more important. So, yeah, I mean, maybe, it's difficult to also, that's the other thing, like after 25 years, your melodies are pretty much taken up, so it's hard to come up with new ideas. But I think for me personally, the words are much more important. Like even if I'm driving in the car and one of my sons says, he wants to play me a song, the first thing I'll ask him is, what is it about? Like, what is the message behind the song? And if he can't answer that question, then there's no point.
Then you're like, no, we're not putting this on. But speaking of My Mom Is Amazing, that is actually one of my favorite songs because I remember singing it when I was little at an event and everyone cried. I mean, my mom was there and she was like, oh, that's my daughter, as you would do. And all the moms were crying, everyone was crying. I think that's such a beautiful song. And I love how, you said that like every song that you put out there has a real positive message, or it's very inspiring. So I think, like, even when that's what I love, like when you're singing something, and like I agree with you with the balance, you know, like you it's catchy because of the melody, but then you're singing such positive things without even knowing it sometimes, right? So yeah, I absolutely love that.
Like my mom is amazing. That particular song, like I remember clearly, I was writing it, and it was meant to be a kiddie song.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about everything that a mother does every day. It's, you know, to being a mom is the most unappreciated job you can find, right? It's like day in, day out doing certain things. Oh, there's my mom. Zain Bhikha. She sent me some
all the mums out there, let us know if you're
Everyone's
here.
going to be like giving the hands up now. You
So,
raise your hands for the moms.
so alhamdulillah, you know, but then I thought about, like in South Africa, there's so many kids who grow up without having like a mother in their lives. Like maybe they're orphans at a young age, maybe their parents passed away. So I wanted it to also be real for people to realize this. Like you may take your mom for granted, but subhanAllah, you never know the blessing of a mother until she's no longer there for you. And then you realize that you should have made the most of every moment with her, you know? So should I sing a bit of that song?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of my favorites.
I'll just sing
my
it.
mom's joined as well, so she's raising
There's
her
a lot of mothers that are raising their hands right now, so I think it's pretty.
Okay, bismillah. It goes like this.
No, it's a beautiful song.
She wakes early in the morning with a smile, and she holds my head up high. Don't you ever let anybody put you down, 'cause you are my little angel. Then she makes something warm for me to drink, 'cause it's cold out there, she thinks. Then she walks me to school, yes, I ain't no fool. I just think my mom is amazing. She makes me feel like I can do anything. And when she's with me, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. After school, she's waiting by the gate. I'm so happy that I just can't wait to get home to tell her how my day went. Eat the yummy food only my mom makes. Then I wind her up 'cause I don't want her back. And we run around the house with a laugh. No matter what I say, she gets her way. I think my mom is amazing. She makes me feel like I can do anything. And when she's with me, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. In the evening, she tucks me into bed, and I wrap my arms around her head. Then she tells me a tale of a girl far away who one day became a princess. I'm so happy I don't want her to leave, so she lies in bed with me. As I close my eyes, how lucky am I to have a mom that's so amazing. She makes me feel like I can do anything. And when she's with me, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes, definitely dedicated to my mom. And you know, I haven't seen her because she lives in a town that's about an hour away from me in Johannesburg. So because of this lockdown, I haven't seen her probably for the last 4 weeks now. So wow. I miss her a lot. But we do FaceTime and WhatsApp calls. So alhamdulillah. May Allah bless all the moms out there, inshallah.
Yeah, it's incredible how you know, before the lockdown we were like, oh, you know, tech is like consuming our lives. You know, it's everywhere. You know, it's talking to each other. But now we're using the same very tech to communicate, right? SubhanAllah. So it's funny how you know, things can change. But
and people are getting really creative with it. So that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like for us, we've definitely come out of our comfort zone. I mean, like we were mentioning on the phone, like this is our first live session. We like the Crease Festival was when we actually did the first ever live. Even on my own platform, I've never done lives, which is really strange. But now I think I do really like the interaction and really getting to actually speak with people all around the world. Like you're in South Africa, we're in London, and it's such a blessing. We were saying that we've done like a virtual traveling. You know, virtual tour of the world this month. So it's been
No,
incredible.
that's amazing. That's amazing, mashallah. And it really, at this time, it can unify us because for the first time, I feel like it's something that, of course, it's a global pandemic, it's a global crisis, it's affecting everybody in different ways, but it also requires a collective responsibility because I may be healthy and I may be like the least, at risk. But if I go out and my actions could lead to somebody else who's older, who may be, more at risk. So it is a collective responsibility, which also makes it a collective effort. So yeah, I think we should do everything in our power to try to make this better, inshallah.
Absolutely, inshallah.
I mean, in terms of, like we do know that Ramadan is approaching, and we were saying how this is the first Ramadan that we are alone. Right, there's just the two of us, and Ramadan starts with the first tarawih. You're running late, and quickly everyone gets out of the house, and we're still making, the samosas and all of those prep. So this year it feels, we're trying to make it as our usual Ramadan. But I mean, how are you dealing with it, and how what do you feel about this Ramadan approaching, like the Ramadan in isolation? And as a family, like how are you prepping for it?
I think it is a very real challenge because, as you say, it's taking away every collective thing that we do, like as a community. So whether it's going to the masjid or praying Tarawih Salah or breaking fast at the masjid, whatever we do collectively, even with our neighbors, with our families, it's going to be a very, as you say, maybe just individuals or alone, or maybe families together. So I think it's up to us, inshallah, to make the most of it. Remember that this is something that, we're not choosing. So already in it, there is khair and there is barakah, because if it's a test, it is definitely a test for people around the world. So if this test allows us to get closer to Allah, so how I'm looking at it is to try to, and I, alhamdulillah, for the last 4 weeks, we've been doing this. We've been praying as a family together. So I've really tried to spend a lot more time with the kids. Going outside, whether we're playing in the garden, whether we're inside, like today with the cooking, they all got involved, laughing their heads off most of the time. But still, it was a collective thing. So it does bring families together. But I think also we need, maybe in this crazy world that we're living in, we need some alone time, and maybe this will give us the reflections we need. I remember a few years ago, I sat for itikaf here in Johannesburg, and the Maulana, the scholar who was sort of guiding us along, Maulana Chunara, he's really a wonderful scholar here in Johannesburg, and he said that this itikaf that you're sitting is not a collective thing. It's about you, your own pace, your own time. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like we should approach Ramadan in that way, that we should really make time for ourselves, whether it's reading Quran, whether it's reading about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, doing whatever we can, but really just internalizing ourselves and where we are in our lives and really begging for Allah's mercy. We're all in desperate need of the mercy of Allah.
Yeah. And one thing I love that you said over the phone the other day is that you've taken it personal, and you've approached this as Allah's chosen you to be alive at this time for a reason, specific reason, and this time is for us to kind of get close to Allah. This time is to kind of improve and reflect, and so that was really interesting for me because when you mention it's personal rather than it is a global pandemic, but it's personal to you. So that's something really that stood out to me. Yeah.
And that analogy is like that's very interesting because it is. Going back to the personal and the whole principle of itikaf is about your own personal relationship with God, and you're doing it in isolation as well. But it's just not in the mosque; it's within your own home. But what I find that it's more of an opportunity during this time is that we don't have the additional distractions or the obligations to leave the house to do your weekly shop or to go to work or to fulfill any obligations that you may have to your family or your friends or your employer if you're working. You're actually within the confines of your home, so you can actually compartmentalize your day and actually do more ibadah because you're not spending time in transit from place to place. So I think
absolutely, and that's exactly what you're saying. It's the opportunities there. I mean, we just make dua and we pray that Allah allows us to make the full opportunity, take the opportunity, because our time can go by. And look, and during Ramadan, we do find ourselves having more time in any event, but this time it's going to be even more so. So we've got to make the use of our time. And inshallah, may Allah give us the strength to do that. I mean, for me, first and foremost, for my family, you know.
Yeah, excellent. I think it's time for another song, Zain. What do you think?
Okay, so let me see. I mean, I know a lot of young people have been asking for Cotton Candy Sky, or should I sing Mount Azamaka maybe, or Zamiluni, or
I think all three of those have been on the list, so I'll leave it up to you to prioritize.
Here's the hat, you get to pick one.
Okay, maybe I'll sing, yeah, I think I'll sing Mount Azamaka because, again, it reminds our hearts about Makkah and Medina, and sometimes we see the images and we're so saddened about, you know, the situation that the world finds itself in, and we are so in desperate need of, and really you only realize how much something is important, how important something is to you when generally it's taken away and there are opportunities. So somebody said, welcome or Ramadan. So we did a Ramadan song actually a few years ago. I can maybe sing a bit of that. It goes like this. I'll sing it a cappella. It goes like this. Ramadan, 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 Ramadan. The new moon we've come upon, the month of fasting has begun. It's time to purify the hearts, and so we welcome Ramadan, 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 Ramadan. We are one, one, one. Oh, we are one, one, one. One ummah under the sun, one ummah praising the one. We are one, one, one. Oh, we are one, one, one. We love Allah's beloved. Send peace upon Muhammad. We are one, one, one. Oh, we are one, one, one. We fast and pray and smile and say, Subhanallah, Allah be praised. So is one, one, one. We say, Ramadan has begun. Alhamdulillah.
Very fitting for that song as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I'll do maybe a bit of Mount Azamaka, if I can remember the words, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, here we go. I'll just line up the track. Oh, mountains of Mecca, what did you see when a mother cried out with her son Ismail, and they were depending solely on their Lord? When out of the earth a blessing appeared. Bismillah. Oh, mountains of Mecca, what can you say of the day that Abraham passed away, and he was instructed by God to build a house of peace where people will pray, and they will come on every leaf, camel and daughter of every thief, for the purpose of praising Allah, to glorify Allah. Oh, mountains of Mecca, what can you tell of the day that stones from the sky fell, destroying an army determined to break the house of Allah that Abraham built? Oh, mountains of Mecca, how was the dawn on the day that my prophet Muhammad was born? How did it feel knowing he was to be the last and most beloved of God, Rasul of Allah, Nabi of Allah? Oh, mountains of Mecca, you were there when the prophet Muhammad climbed down in despair, engraved in his heart the words of his Lord to all of mankind. This was his call. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Oh, people praise only Allah, glorify Allah. Oh, mountains of Mecca, how did you mourn on the day that the beloved returned to his Lord? And up till the last breath escaped from his lips, he prayed that his ummah would find success. Oh, mountains of Mecca, how it felt when the earth shall quake and tremble with fear, and we shall be gathered together to stand in the court of Allah with our deeds in hand. Oh, how we pray that on that day we'll be with those to whom Allah said, peace be with you. I am peace with you. On mountains of Mecca, bear witness that to the oneness of Allah do I testify. For all that is given me, how can I deny? My purpose in life should be only to cry. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Beautiful.
Every time.
Exactly.
I mean, this could never get old. Like people have actually said, every time it gets to us, and every time it's like we're hearing it for the first time. So that's the beauty of this song, mashallah.
Yeah, even myself. I mean, I never get tired of singing the song. I mean, because I keep thinking about every line in that poem. And I was on Hajj when I wrote the song, so I really feel that I was like truly inspired. You know, so yeah, alhamdulillah, we can maybe sing one more, inshallah, if you like.
Inshallah. Go for it.
So let me think. Okay, let me do two songs.
Okay.
I'll do the Cotton Candy Sky because
Amazing.
I really like the song because it reminds us, and it's, again, I mentioned this many times before, but it's more for adults than for kids, because we're the ones who get so bogged down with our issues and stresses and life experiences, and it's the kids who have a natural fitra just to be positive and to always be looking up, and it's us, we just bogged down by something, you know. Like today earlier, I was with my son, and he was looking at the back of the computer, and he was like, I think I can take this thing apart. I think there's the fan, and there's the CPU, and there's, I was like, what? He's only like 11 years old.
Yeah,
but you know, kids have this natural like ability to be positive, you know, and I think that's something as adults we forget. And you know, of course, we go through difficult times, and that, but we should always cling on to the idea that Allah is in control and things are going to get better, and this life is only temporary, and the life to come is eternal. So we'll always have our cotton candy sky.
Absolutely, yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, so Bismillah, here goes. Allah has given me a cotton candy sky, a little bit of blue, pink, purple, and white. I sometimes see the gray and I sometimes feel the rain, but I'll see the colors of the cotton candy sky again. I see the red of my mother's love, the true blue of my father's house. I see the orange of my siblings' smile. I see the pink and the white of the love of my life, and the deep, deep green that all children bring are the coolness of my eyes. For Allah has given me a cotton candy sky, a little bit of blue, pink, purple, and white. I sometimes see the gray and I sometimes feel the rain, but I'll see the colors of the cotton candy sky again. Whenever I'm down, I look up to the sky and I see the signs from Allah Most High. Most of all, I see light, endless light upon light. Mercy from Allah, who is yours and mine. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Rabb al-Alameen. Bismillah, and again I begin. For Allah has given me a cotton candy sky, a little bit of blue, pink, purple, and white. I sometimes see the gray and I sometimes feel the rain, but I see the colors of the cotton candy sky again. I see the yellow like the sunflower smile of an orphan girl who says Alhamdulillah, or a mother who lost her child. Sees him waiting on a throne of gold so high, or a father who holds his stride, working hard every day and is firm in his faith, burning bright like a beautiful crimson flame. Says Allah, keep my family safe, for Allah has given me a cotton candy sky, a little bit of blue, pink, purple, and white. I sometimes see the gray and I sometimes feel the rain, but I see the colors of the cotton candy sky again. Whenever I am down, I look up to the sky and I see the signs from Allah Most High. Most of all, I see light, endless light upon light. Mercy from Allah, who is yours and mine. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Rabb al-Alameen. Bismillah, and again I begin. Of course there are times, both yours and mine, when the tears in our eyes sting and blur out the light. But these lows bring the highs of the strength I have inside, to always see my cotton candy sky. For Allah has given me a cotton candy sky, a little bit of blue, pink, purple, and white. I sometimes see the gray and I sometimes feel the rain, but I'll see the colors of the cotton candy sky again. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair for your time. I don't know, is there time for one more song or?
We have, yeah. So just before you sing your final song, thank you so much for joining us on this to conclude the WOW Creative Festival. It's really been an honor having you on our show and a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you better. And I hope the audience have found the same. I hope you've. Sometimes you get used to it, you get accustomed to listening to your favorite Nasheed artists, but it's very rare that you get a chance to kind of see the man behind the music. So I'm hoping everybody's found this this interaction useful and insightful, and inshallah Zain will leave us with one last song.
But before you go, I just wanted to say I'm really looking forward to, after this COVID-19, inshallah, if we're all alive and healthy, to welcome you to London when you come next and do lots more creative things together, inshallah. And yeah, it's made me, how do I explain it? Like I've been really looking forward to this today, and I'm a little bit like I was saying in the beginning that I was really excited to have you, as well as emotional that this has all come to an end. But I wanted to, of course, thank you first and foremost for giving us this amazing finale, but also to everybody who's joined. But look, there's lots of people asking, like, what's more, before you leave, what's more for Zain Bhikha, and what to look forward to? If there's anything for us that you have, please let us know.
Yeah, well, I think, firstly, I just want to say also thank you to both of you for reaching out to me. I mean, when I saw the links and to the work that you guys are doing, I saw some of the videos online. It's really remarkable work. And inshallah, out of all the things that I do, whether it's writing songs or recording songs or even doing big shows, but the things that I really appreciate the most is visiting schools and having workshops or one-on-one interaction, especially with young people. So I see that that's the work that you guys are doing. So inshallah, I hope that we can maybe do some joint creative classes in London.
Absolutely.
Wherever you guys are. And that's something that I wish I had more time to do going forward as well. But for me, all I really hope that I can be inspired to write more songs. I can be inspired to, to record and work hard at it. And then, of course, beyond that, I mean, I guess it's also for me to realize that I need to also work on myself first and foremost, and just to evolve as a human being, to learn as much as I can, to experience and to make a difference. And again, sometimes if we give of ourselves to others, especially those in need, through any cause, any organization, anybody, any way you can find, there's no greater contentment you find in your heart. So I want to spend more time doing that. Like, my dad has some clinics in Cape Town, which I'm very involved in. We serve very poor communities, so I've been involved with that. I've been involved with many organizations like Islamic Relief, so I want to continue that. And alhamdulillah, hopefully, inshallah, you guys should find the time to do the same, because it really brings so much peace to your heart.
Yeah. Inshallah, Ramadan is upon us as well, so to increase our charitable endeavors would be a great thing, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got the following options. I Remember Your Smile, Zamiluni, or The King of Medina. So,
right. Should we take a vote? Let's take a vote.
Okay, so let me give you the 4 options, right? So there's I Remember Your Smile, Zamiluni, King of Medina, or Allah Made Everything.
Oh, now vote away, guys. We'll give you 1 minute to vote. We'll be telling them
Zamiluni, King of Medina.
Well, imagine we get equal votes for all. That'll be a tough one. Oh, okay. Keep them coming. We should give 4 choices. That's a lot. So could we repeat the choices again? So we've got Zamiluni,
King of Medina, I Remember Your Smile, or Allah Made Everything. But I think Zamiluni seems to be getting most of it.
It's between King of Medina and Zamiluni, actually.
Oh, okay. No, Zamiluni's getting majority votes.
Yeah, okay. I think
King of Medina and Zamiluni. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, I think it's neck and neck. And the one person that probably fell asleep said Mount of the Makkah.
Okay, so let me do inshallah Zamiluni, because of course it's a beautiful song, and Bismillah, here we go.
Bismillah. Okay.
He stepped inside his home, he was overwhelmed with fear. An angel came with words from God, things were still unclear. Saying, read, read, but he could not read. Amazing words that he heard. A trembling deep inside his heart, confused by what had occurred. There was only one who could comfort him, to help him see the light, to ease his fears, to reassure, was Khadija, his wife. He said, Zamiluni, Zamiluni, Dathiruni, Dathiruni, a mighty task has come before me. I need you here with me, by my side, by my side. She was a woman of nobility, successful in all her trade. Many wealthy men had asked for her, she turned them all away. But when she saw Muhammad, a shining moon, may peace be on his soul. He was a light for her, so right for her, her life will now be whole. But she had never seen him so distressed as he was that day. She would comfort him and hold him tight and chase his doubts away. When he said, Zamiluni, Zamiluni, Dathiruni, Dathiruni, a mighty task has come before me. I need you here with me, by my side, by my side, by my side. Now years had passed, times had changed since Khadija breathed her last. And the message of the one true God was spreading far and vast. But then he came across some jewelry that Khadija had once worn. His eyes began to swell with tears, his heart began to mourn. 'Cause she was there for him when the times were rough and his enemies were cruel. She was the first believer, so keen and eager to comfort our soul. When he said, Zamiruni, Zamiruni, Dathiruni, Dathiruni, a mighty task has come before me. I need you here with me, by my side, by my side, by my side. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
So good.
so much.
Thank
I really
you
appreciate
so
the
much.
opportunity.
Thank you so much to Zain Bhikha, the incredible Zain Bhikha, for joining us and blessing us with your beautiful voice and all the requests. Thank you so much, inshallah, and also to all of you that have joined us today, but also throughout the whole month of April. It is an emotional time for us today because it is the end of the WAW Creative Festival, but it's also the beginning of so many other things, and there's so much more to look forward to. And we pray that, you know, Zain Bhikha, you are healthy and have an amazing Ramadan, as well as everybody who have you have an amazing Ramadan. And remember, we're in this together. We're a community. We're all here for one another. Just, you know, smile through this, keep strong, and have an absolutely amazing Ramadan. There's more to look forward to. And there's lots of people asking, will this be saved? This will be saved, and as well as this live, the previous lives will all be put on. Would you like to tell us? Yeah.
Thanks, Naseba. So it'll be uploaded onto onto YouTube. So they'll be going on later on this week, but we will stay tuned onto our Instagram. We'll issue a notification, we'll issue a story and a post to let you know it's all gone live with the link. So inshallah, you know, if you have missed anything or you want to recap, it'll all be available on YouTube by the end of this week, inshallah.
Thanks for that, Talha. Yes, and you know, I just is there any last words that you'd like to share with us? Any words of wisdom? Anything that you'd like to leave with us?
No, just really, you've said it all. You know, may Allah protect us and people all around the world, some through going through exceptional hard conditions, whether it's through poverty or war or through this pandemic. And may Allah bless us and allow us to get closer to Him and ease the suffering of Muslims around the world. And may Allah allow us to make the most of this Ramadan. And from my family to yours, wherever you are, and of course, Talha and Naseba, Jazakallah khair for having me on the show. It's really been a pleasure. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Ramadan.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
Salam,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.